Greetings, Kickstarter. I'm Steve Wood, designer of Gunship First Strike. I wanted to thank you for taking a look at our project, and I hope you like what you see enough to back us. It's been a long journey for me to get here, and I'm extremely thankful for this opportunity to finally get Gunship off the ground. Gunship is a tactical space combat game that takes place in the middle of a galactic civil war. Each player is in command of a small battle group whose objective is the destruction of the other side's carrier. This is accomplished by playing attack cards, rolling dice, and changing your tactics to the situation at hand. Gunship is a fun and well-balanced game where every turn counts. Most battles are won or lost by a handful of hit points. Let's take a look at some of the actual game components. Gunship First Strike comes with so much stuff that we can't even get it all in one shot. But don't worry, we're going to zoom in on things individually as we go along. Basically, you get a very durable, beautiful, full-color box. You get 118 full-color cards. 80 of them are here for the main deck, and you get 19 cards for each gunship to customize your gunship and keep track of damage and things like that. You get 2 gunship boards. You get 1 blue set and 1 red set. You get the wings for each set. You get 2 squadron boards. Those are for your fighter squadrons, 1 for the blue and 1 for the red. You get 2 carrier boards to keep track of damage to the carriers. Obviously another one here, blue, 1 red. You get 24 fighter tokens. Those are used to keep track of your losses to your fighter squadrons. You get 7 dice, and you get this full color rulebook. Let's talk a little bit about one of the very cool features of the game, how you get to customize your gunship from the very beginning of the game. Alright, like I said in the previous segment, each gunship gets 19 cards that are used to customize it. You get 10 weapons, 3 shields, 3 armor, and this is just a card you use if you take damage to your power generator. Hopefully you won't have to use that card too much. I'm going to go ahead and build a basic gunship and show you how that works. You choose a weapon for each of your weapon pods, and you choose a weapon for each of your wings. You can do it in any combination that you want, or you can do it based on a certain tactic that you want to explore. For this ship, I'm going to build a pretty basic version. I'm going to put a blaster cannon on my right weapon pod, a blaster cannon on my left weapon pod. I'm going to put a trio of thruster bombs on that wing, and I'm going to put an ion cannon on this wing. This gives me a good combination of different weapons. I can play a lot of hit cards against the enemy gunship. I can ionize the enemy gunship, and if the enemy carrier's shields go down, that leaves me the option of dropping bombs on him. Now once you have finished deciding on your weapons, you place 3 armor cards somewhere on your gunship. I always armor my torpedo launcher because it's very important to have a functional torpedo launcher. I generally will armor my power generator, and typically if I have bombs on one of my wings, I will armor those. That gives them a little bit more durability for going through the battle, and then hopefully I'll still have those bombs available when it's time to attack the carrier. At the end, you take your 3 shield cards, you place them on your shield generator, and those are the 3 hits I can take before I start taking actual physical damage. Now that our gunship is built, let's take a quick look at how the game actually plays out. It's just going to be a brief example, but you can download the rulebook from our website at www.escapepodgames.com and check out all the rules whenever you're ready. There's a few things in the gunship battle that you don't really have a whole lot of control over. Think of the gunship universe as a sci-fi action movie where the gunship is the star and the carriers and the fighters are kind of supporting players. At the start of every turn, you have what's called the carrier phase, and the gunners on the carriers take aim at each other and try to do a little bit of damage to each other. You flip a card off the top of the deck, and you look for a symbol right here. If you have a symbol that looks like this, you've done 1 hit to the other guy's carrier. He's then going to fire at you in turn and flip a card. In this case, he would do 2 hits to your carrier. Carriers either do 1 hit, 2 hits, or 0 hits to each other. If you flip a card that doesn't have either of those symbols, like the evasive action card, then that is a miss. Now, the way carriers keep track of damage is they have a shield track of 6 shield levels. So as they take hits, you move this 12-sided die down 1 for every hit that it took. In this example, the carrier has taken 3 hits of damage. It still has 3 shields left. If it takes 3 more hits of damage, that die is moved into the center circle. At that point, every hit of damage that that carrier takes is going to lower that die down by 1. So let's say I attack it on a later turn with my gunship and do 1 hit of damage with a torpedo. In that case, he now has 11 hit points. Let's say on a subsequent turn, the enemy carrier does 2 hits of damage to him. Now he's down to 9. Now let's say I take my gunship, drop 3 bombs on him, and all 3 hit, and I can play a card that modifies that damage by 2 more. Well, now he's down to 4. 4 more hits and that carrier is destroyed. That's pretty much it for carrier combat. During the game, the fighters have their own phase as well, where they pretty much shoot at one another. Fighters occasionally get to make an attack run on the gunship, which is called strafing. That's typically if the gunship has been left without escorts. But let's say in this example that the dice are rolled, the fighters are shooting at each other, and the red fighter squadron has scored 3 hits against my blue squadron. I would take 3 fighter tokens and cover 3 of my fighters up. I now only have 9 fighters in my squadron. For every 3 fighters that you have, you get to roll 1 die. So in the beginning of the game, you're rolling 4 6-sided dice for your fighter squadron, but now anytime after this, of course, I would only be rolling 3 dice. The last phases of your turn involve your gunship. I'm going to show you a sample turn of using a gunship to do a couple different things. I've already kind of set my hand up in advance so that I can show you how to use several of these cards together, so I'm going to be using those as we go along. There's basically 3 places that you can be in this game. You can be at your own carrier, in the center zone, which is kind of the distance between the 2 carriers, and at the enemy carrier. Right now, my gunship and fighter squadron are defending my own carrier, and the other guy's forces are in the middle, kind of as a barrier between me and him. So during my fighter phase, I'm going to move my fighters to the center square like that. What that basically does is it creates a dogfight, and it ties up the red fighters and keeps them from being able to interdict the movement of my gunship. Now let's say it's my gunship phase. I get 3 actions. My first action, I'm going to move into the center zone, and I'm going to attack the red gunship that's there. As we said before, I've got 2 blaster cannons and 1 ion cannon. For each weapon I have, I can play the corresponding card. I throw down a hit from one of my blaster cannons. The red gunship does not have an evasive action card, so he's going to lose a shield. I lay down another hit. Another shield. And finally, I'm going to lay down an ionized card. Obviously he doesn't have any evasive action, so that's going to hit him. Now, it didn't matter where the shots hit in the beginning because he had shields, but ionized cards ignore shields, so we're going to roll an 8-sided die to determine where it hits. Number 1. I've ionized his torpedo launcher. That's very important because next turn maybe he had a torpedo to use against my carrier, but now he's not going to be able to use it. And that ionized card is going to move from place to place on his ship until it drives him nuts, or until he lands on his carrier to get rid of it. That was 2 actions, 1 to move to here and 1 to attack his gunship. With my 3rd action, I'm going after his carrier. So I've moved into the enemy carrier zone. I've announced that I'm going to do what's called an attack run on his ship, and he's going to roll 4 dice for his defense cannon in an attempt to damage me as much as possible. For every 5 he rolls, he does 1 hit. For every 6, he does 2 hits. He got only 1 hit. Lucky for me, I lose a shield. And now, I'm going to play a torpedo card and do a hit of damage to his shields. Now you're probably wondering, why don't I go ahead and drop my bombs as well? Well, first of all, I don't have any actions left this turn. Secondly, you cannot drop thruster bombs on a shielded carrier. For the last part of my turn, the repair phase, I'm going to throw down my damage control card, restore my shields back to full, and that completes a turn. The keys to winning the game are to most effectively play your hand of cards and manage the ever-increasing damage that's occurring to your gunship. Should you risk 1 more attack run on the enemy carrier, or do you need to go in for repairs first? Do you even have time to go in for repairs, or do you need to start attacking the other guy's gunship to slow him down and buy yourself the time that you need? You're in the cockpit, so it's all up to you. Well, as you can see, I need to get up to the bridge and take care of some business. We hope that you'll back us, and we want to launch a brand new gaming universe with your help. Assuming we survive this battle, we'll see you on the other side.